Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video I'll show you how to create an AV preview using WebRTC, where you can get the video preview like this, and you can also visualize your audio using this audio visualizer right here. You can select your connected devices via the drop down, and you can test out your microphone, camera and connected speakers. So if I play this audio right now, it will play it into my headphones, but if I choose speakers, so that's how it happens. I can also select my OBS's camera, so it will change the feed like this, and all of this is possible via WebRTC, and I'll show you how. So if you're curious about all the things that you can do with WebRTC, here is a list of items, and what we are going to do is pretty similar to this one, where you can see your video preview, change your audio input, output, destination and video source as well. You can get the code on GitHub. The code might seem pretty complicated initially, so don't worry about that. I'll simplify it out for you. You might not know what sync ID is, so we'll cover that in this video. There's also another site where you can get code for querying media devices or listening for device changes and other things like that. Now, if you're someone who's very curious about how things actually work behind the scenes, then WebRTC for the curious is for you. It is a book, and you can go through all these list of items and figure out and understand how things are actually working. For instance, how real-time networking is working and why is it important. So I'll add all these links in the description, but essentially we'll be building pretty cool stuff, so let's dive into it. So here's a pretty basic HTML file. We just have the AV preview and the audio visualizers meter ready, and don't forget to import the script tag where we are actually making use of WebRTC's adapter, else nothing will work. And there's a styles that I've added. It's pretty basic, so that's it, and we have the audio file ready. So that's about the skeleton of this project. Now before we start, I want to show you something. So let's say we have to list out all the connected devices, right? So all the audio input, output and video output devices. So the command to do that is navigator dot media devices dot enumerate devices, right? So if you do that, we don't get any device IDs here. It's all blank. That's because before you actually fetch all the connected devices, you need to give permission to the browser to actually get all your video and audio devices. So for that, you make use of get user media. So navigator dot media devices dot get user media, and you need to pass some parameters, some constraints. So let's say audio video true is like you're allowing the browser to make use of to fetch all the connected microphones and cameras. So that's what we want, so let's do that. So it will ask me for permission. So if I click on allow, now if I do the same thing, that is enumerate devices, so now I'll get a list of all the connected devices, right? So yeah, that's what we'll be doing here as well. So let's go back to code. Firstly, we'll be fetching all the select tags that belong to microphone, speaker and camera. Now what we want is we want to display it in the select tag, right? So what we'll do is we'll create a function called show devices, and we'll be creating a get devices function in the util file. But for now, this is what it will look like. So we'll fetch all the connected mics, cameras and speakers, and we'll add it in the select drop down, right? So initially we'll set them to be empty, and then if there are mics available, we'll iterate over each mic and add it as an option. And if there are no mics available, we'll just show choose microphone. Similarly for cameras and for speakers. But if there are no speakers available, you don't want to show them the audio element, which is where they can click on the play button and play the audio file that you have added here. So you don't want that, right, if there are no speakers available. So this is just one additional line. And in order to select the first element by default, so you just add the selected index as 0. So that's about it. Now the next step would be to show the AV preview, right? So you'll show them the camera feed and the microphone's audio visualizer, and show devices is just to list all the devices. Let's create a util folder and we'll add a new file, devices util. So this is the get devices function. So this is what we did, right? We will first ask the user for the permission, and if the user doesn't give the permission, we'll just return an empty array. If the permission is given, so we'll get all the connected devices and we'll filter them out. So if it is of the type audio input, so it will be a microphone. If it is video input, then it's a camera, and if it's audio output, then it's a speaker. As simple as that. Now we don't want to include any devices that have default or empty device IDs, because it's just a repetition of all the devices. So if you go back and if we try to get all the connected devices, you see there are 10, but that's because there's a default one as well. So let's see what this is. This is external microphone, MacBook. See, so we have external microphone here as well, and this one as well. So we don't want duplicate entries in the array, so that's why we are filtering them out. So this is it. Let's save it. Let's save this one, and we need to add the script tag right here. Awesome. Let's see what happens. Oh, I didn't add it on the. So we have the list of all the connected devices right here. Let me close this. Even on this one. Cool. So let's add the button click in the button tag event. Say on click. We'll say show AV preview. Okay. Yeah, so we haven't yet added test camera function and test microphone, so that's why we won't be able to see the feed. but as of now at least we are able to see all the connected devices. Let's create another util file. Name it as mic camera util. Yes, so the code for mic and camera will be a little longer, but it's alright. So initially we are fetching all the input tags, select tags for audio input and video input, right? And this is the instant meter, so which is this. Initially we are creating a function called sound meter that takes audio context as the parameter. So audio, you can think of audio context as the stream that is fetched from the connected audio input devices. 2048 is the buffer size that has one audio input channel and one audio output channel. And this is essentially a function where we are setting the instant value. So you can think of it as the volume that gets set, right? And this volume is being shown to the user in the form of audio visualizer right here as the instant meters value. Okay, and here we are creating the media stream source and connect to source function right here. So we are just setting it up, like we are connecting it to the script. So the script was this one, right? So you don't really have to worry about the sound meter. Essentially what we are doing is we are fetching the audio context data and showing it to the user in the form of an audio visualizer, right? And if there's an error, so we have written a handle error function. Cool. And this is the test microphone function. So this is the audio context. We are stopping the tracks. So what we're doing is we are checking if a stream exists, and if it exists, then we are stopping all the tracks because we don't want to waste any audio resources on this one. Now here is where the part gets interesting. So we are fetching all the connected mics and setting the audio source's value as that of the device ID of the connected mic, right? So the first connected mic. So this is the device ID. We're logging all of this, and as we had seen previously, we were passing some constraints in the get user media function. So that was audio true, video true. So here we are sending audio as the we are passing device ID as the parameter for audio. So if audio source exists, then we are setting the device ID, and else it is just undefined. So that's about it. Similarly for camera, we are doing the same thing. We are stopping the tracks, we are fetching cameras and attaching the device ID, the first element's device ID to the video source and sending it as the constraint in get user media. The only difference is that we are displaying the stream, right? So that is the only difference. We are setting it up, setting the SRC object to that of the stream. So that's it, and we want the stream to change upon changing the selected value right here, right? So if I'm changing different items here, so the stream should also change. So video stream should change and audio visualizers output should also change. So that's the only thing that this add event listener is doing here. Let's save it. Let's save this one. Okay, and let's add the script tag. Okay, let's see if you're able to console things or not. So if I change it to this, so we are getting some device ID and the selected value is 1, and we are getting the video the visualizer output. Cool. So if I'm changing it to this, the device ID is different, the output is also different in a way. and the selected value is 0 because it is at 0 index, right? Awesome. Let's click on show AV preview to see the video. Let's see if I have my virtual camera on. Let's start it. So we are seeing it. See the stream. Awesome. So things are actually working. Let's write the same code for testing out the speaker as well. So let me create a new file. Speaker util.js. The code for speaker is also pretty less when you compare it with testing out the microphone. So this is the one. Now we had initially talked about attach sync ID function, right? So sync ID is a unique identifier of your audio output device. So what we are essentially doing here is we have the audio element, right, which is this one. So what you want is you want this to play in this audio destination, right, which is this one. So we are fetching the selected value from this drop down, and that is your audio destination. The value essentially is the device ID. So device ID will always be unique, so that is the sync ID. So we are attaching it to the audio element, and then we are playing it out. So that's the part of this function. That's the job of this function. Now not all browsers support sync IDs, so that's why we have added a warning here. So if it is not undefined, do this, else the browser does not support it, so we are just showing the warning. So we are checking out for security errors. If there's no security error, we're just printing out the error. Awesome. So that's the only thing. Let me write it in a similar way that we have written for everything else. Yeah. Yeah, let's test out the speakers. Let's see if we're able to lock things. So yeah, audio device is this. It's pretty loud. Okay. And if I play this in my headphones, so yeah, the device ID is again different, and it plays it out in my headphones. Yeah, so things are working, but we haven't really added one thing, which is if I am changing devices, connected devices, right? So this list won't refresh in a way, so you want it to reset, right? So let's add that. Navigator.media devices dot add event listener device change. What you want to do is you want to show the devices and you want to show AV preview. Let's make this async. Cool. Styles display as block, right? And let's hide it out initially, so we can do meter display as man. Cool. So what I'm actually doing is, if I don't click on this button, I shouldn't be able to see that bar. So let's click on that. Now I'm able to see it, and the things are getting logged. And let me try disconnecting a device. So as of now we can see the external microphone in the list. So let me disconnect. So now we don't see it even in the speakers. So yeah, it works, and we can see the audio visualizer right here. If I connect it back again, so we'll see the list again. Awesome. So it works. So I hope you learned something from this, and I'll add the link of this code in the description. So yeah, thanks for watching.